So we created our database yesterday. So today now we are going to move forward from here, right? We are going to move forward from here today. So how many of us actually were able to create our database yesterday? How many people were able to create our database yesterday? If you're able to create your database, let me know. All right, that's good, that's good, that's good. So let's move forward from here, right? Okay, so now I'm going to choose the database that I want to use, which is the one that we created yesterday, which is sales, right? All I just have to do is just to run use sales. So I'll just run use sales. So run it. So sales is selected. Now the next thing, if you remember, SQL is a relational database management system, and a relational database management system, the information is stored in a structured table. Do you understand? Information is stored in a structured table. So how do we now do that? How do we do that? So we need to create our own table where the informations are going to be, right? Where the informations are going to be. So how do we now create table? So to create a table, so creating a table, that's the next step we want to take now. So create a table. So create a table, all we just have to do is type in create. What did I want to create? Table. Then what is the table name? So let's say the table name is let's say we are trying to track inventory or something, or let's say results. So we are creating a school report. So let's call it reports, right? That's the name of our table. So we'll pass it in a bracket. Then I'll close my code here. So now inside of results, what are the columns that are going to be there? So inside of results, what are the columns? What inside of school report, what are the columns? What are the fields that will be there? That's what we are going to pass inside the bracket. So the first field, let's say we are going to have serial number. Serial number, that's the first field. Now, before I actually create table also, I need to talk about something. I need to talk about something before I start creating table, which is data types, right? Data types. Before we create a table, supposed to come before creating a table. Sorry. This has to come before creating a table. I think there is a mistake in the slide. All right, so you have to talk about data types. So the very first data type is what we call integer, right? Int. So our first data type, before we start creating a table, so we'll talk about data types. Data types. So number one data type is what we call the int, which is talking about integer, numbers, right? So this is talking about numbers, right? This is talking about numbers. So whenever you use something like int, it's talking about numbers. Do you get? So which means the column can only contain number. Do you understand? The column can only contain numbers. Do we get it? The column can only contain numbers. So the next one is sorry. Okay, the next one now is number 2, which is decimal, right? Or so if you don't call it decimal here, you can also call it double. You can also call it double. And in other programming language like Python, it is called a floating number. So this is talking about decimal numbers, right? Decimal. So int is talking about whole number, decimal, double, or float, they are talking about decimal number, right? So example, 2.4, right? 5.987. All these ones, they are what we call the decimal. Are we together? Are you with me? Yes or no? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let me know if you are with me. All right. So now, number three, number three is what we call virtual. Virtual. Now, virtual basically stands for variable character. So it stands for variable what? Character. Variable character. That is what virtual stand for. Variable character, right? So this is talking about string or text, right? So you can either call it a string or you call it text. They mean the same thing. Do you understand? It's talking about text. Now, a virtual will have a bracket. So in the brackets, it's talking about how many alphabets are we expecting. So if let's say we want to talk about a country name, right? So what is the highest number of alphabets that you think a country can take? What is the highest number of alphabet that you think a country can take? So let's say, okay, maybe the name is very, very long. It cannot be more than 50, right? So you have to pass it in here. So this is the maximum that it can take. Anything above, any alphabet, any words that is above 50 is not going to take it. Do you understand? So if I set this to like, let's say I set this to 3, right? And I want to type in my name, like Akim, as a as a content in that column, is not going to take it because I can only take 3 alphabets because that is what I set in here. So that column can only take 3 alphabets. Do you understand? Anything above 3 alphabets, it cannot take it. So that's why you have to be careful when setting your virtual, right? Yes, it's like the validation also. All right. After virtual, we have another one called enum. Enum. So enum is like a drop down, right? But here you don't have a drop down. So you pass in the words that you want people to actually type. So let's say I want this column, so you can only put your gender there, male or female. So if you type in anything outside of these two, it's not going to take it. It can only take male and female. That is what the column, that particular column can take. Do we understand? That's what that particular column can take. That is enum. So another one is dates. That is number 5. Is dates, right? So you don't pass in anything here, but you must know your date is in this format. Is in this format. In a quote, quote. So Y, that is the year. Then for the month and DD. So if there is minutes and seconds in front of it, then it goes minutes and seconds. That's the format of your date here. So it's not a must that you have to put hour, minutes, and seconds. Do you get? It's not a must, but you have to pass in the year, the month, and the day. Do we understand that? Let me see. You have text also. That's the standard date. That's the standard date format. The year, the month, and the day. That's the standard date format. So another one is, if you don't want to use virtual, you can actually pass in this text, right? Text. You can pass it in as text. So text is used to do, that's number 6. That is number 6. We have the text. So text is another data type. If you type in here, text is another data type. So in a situation whereby you don't want to pass in the maximum number, right? So you don't want to pass in the maximum number because you actually don't know the maximum number that it's going to take. For instance, a description of something, right? So you are writing a description of maybe something that's or comment. Do you understand? So you cannot actually predict the maximum amount of alphabet that will be there. Do you understand? So we use text in that form. Do you understand? We use text. So the text can take as many alphabets as possible. So it does not really have maximum. But virtual, there is a maximum amount of alphabets that it can take, in which while you are creating the table, you are the one that will set it yourself. Are we on the same page? So we have date. This date is the same thing as date time, which is number 7. You have date time, right? You have date time. So date time is still the same thing as this date format. So for me, I don't really use date time, because if you use date or you use date time, it's still the same data type. Are we together? Let's see the next one. Time. It just stores time alone. It stores time alone, right? The last one that I'm going to talk about, which is not here, is not something that we really use, is what we call blob. Blob. So this is, it means binary large objects, which is what we use to store large objects, music, videos, all those ones. That's what we use blob to do. So if you go to Google now to go and search about blob in SQL, blob is SQL. So blob basically stands for what? Binary large objects, right? Is the data type used to store large amount of unstructured binary data directly within the database. So this can include various type of files such as images, audio file, which is music, videos, PDF file, right? And a whole lot of other things. Do you get it now? So that is another data type. That is another data type. But for now, we are not going to use blob. But these are the basic data type. So from 1 to 6 are the basic data type. Date time, blob, is not something that we really use like that. Do we understand? Do we understand these data types now? Yes or no? All right. So now I was talking about creating the table, right? I was talking about creating a table. So while creating, what is the difference between text and variable? Where do you see variable here? There's no variable here. I'd not, did you, is there a variable? The string, virtual, the virtual. I mentioned earlier, virtual asks a maximum amount of alphabets that it can take, whereby text does not have a maximum amount. I was talking about if you use text, we use it for comment, we use it for descriptions. That is for text. Here, you don't set the maximum amount of alphabet, but in virtual, you set the maximum amount of alphabet. Blob is used to store a large object, a binary large object. So we call it binary large object, right? So it's what we use to store images, videos, right? Images, videos, music, PDF, all those files. That is what we use to store. So if you go to Google and you see that, okay, you go to someone's website, or if you go to our website now, you want to download our brochure, right? So what we use to store that PDF file, it is blob, right? So you go to YouTube, all the videos that you are watching on YouTube, it is stored with what? The data type of blobs. Music, they are stored with data type of blob. You go to a website and you see you can upload image, you can download images and the likes. It is stored with blob. Do you understand now? All right. So I was talking about creating a table. I said whenever you want to create a table, you have to type in create table, then you give your table name. Create table, then you give your table name. So you now pass in a bracket. So inside that bracket, that is where you pass in the name of the column that will be available that you want to use, right? What is different between dates and dates time? There's not much difference, but in dates, it's not a must to start with hour, minutes, and seconds. Do you understand? But with date time, you have to store hour, minutes, and seconds. All right, someone is raising hand. Please unmute. You can unmute. Oh. Hello? Hello? I can't hear you. Just type your question. I'll answer you if you type it there. All right. So I was talking about creating a table, right? So you type in create table, whatever name you want to give to that your table, you type it after create table. Then you pass in a bracket. So inside the bracket, that's where you specify the available columns that you want to use. So in this case now, we want to create a school report, right? So we want to have serial number. In the serial number, the data types, you have to supply it. So what is the data type of serial number? A serial number will contain integer, right? So it's going to contain integer. So in front of it, you pass in the data type, int. That is the data type, right? So we are using serial number, and in front of it, we call it int. So we are telling SQL that, okay, this column will contain only numbers. So it's not going to take alphabets. It can only take in numbers. All right, comma, you pass in comma. So you can type all the names in front. You can say, okay, oh, Pampe, yeah, on it.
So, yes, sir. You said the integer, the SN can contain int. What of a situation whereby the SN, like a POS machine SN, where some are smarter, some are liners, of which the smart starts from PBF, then the remaining one int. Are you saying that it is not going to work like that for the
So
int?
if you have such case, whenever you have alphanumeric, so what do we mean by alphanumeric? Text and numbers, right? So if your serial number is alphanumeric, then it's going to be stored as virtual. Whenever anything is alphanumeric, the data type is always a string, that is a text. So you can either store it as virtual or text. That is, if you have something like 22A, right, 22B, 22C, something like this cannot be stored as integer, right? It cannot be stored as integer. If you look at it, it's telling me that 22A is not a valid position, so you have to put it in a quote, right? So that it's saved as a text. So this is no more an integer, is no more an integer, it becomes a virtual. Do you understand? So the serial number is no more an integer if you're having alphanumeric. So whenever you're having alphanumeric, you store it as a text because there's no data type as alphanumeric. Do you understand? Is either it's an integer or it's a text. Do you get it now? Why do you use underscore? Because that's the way I want it. I'm not going to answer you, Mr. David. I told you that you can use any of the two. Which one is the best? It depends on the type of analysis you want to do now. And most of the time, you are not even creating a table. You are not creating a table. The data type is already there. All you just have to do is import it in. So you are not creating the table from the beginning. Why I have underscore between serial numbers? Because that is how I want it to be. You can as well write it as SN like this. It's your choice. But for me, I just love to write it like S underscore N. And you can even say space N. Now, if you want to write space here, you have to use something called backtick, right? So if you look under your escape key, you'll see backtick, right? So you have to put it as backtick like this. Without this backtick, there is nothing, you won't be able to use space. So if you have, let me see, backtick on keyboard. Let me show you. Backtick on keyboard. Let's go to images. You can see under your escape key, you will see the backtick here. That is what you are going to use. It's not a quote. Quote is somewhere around here, right? So backtick is under your keyboard, under your escape key on your keyboard. So let's move forward. So that is if you want to use space. So, but for me, I prefer to use S underscore N. So you can use X/N. That's going to give you an error. So use X underscore N. If I ask you a question, you not allow me to concentrate though. Emeka's iPhone.
Hello,
Yeah, good evening.
good evening. See, I wanted to suggest something. When you've repeated one particular thing for a long time, what you would have done, anybody that did not understand it should play the video now because we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Because somebody they're repeating. Somebody's not paying attention. When you explain, you want to bring us back. I'm going to offend a lot of persons, but that is the truth. We should play back the video, and if we don't get it, we get it then.
All right.
That's my suggestion.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So just jot down your question. I'm going to take it all when we get to the question and answer section. So, and I'm not going to be answering some question. All right. So let's move forward. So we have serial number, right? So then the next one is first name. So I'm going to use the backtick, right? So let's say first name. Let's concentrate now. Let's concentrate. So first name is going to be what? What is going to be the data type for our first name? First name is going to be what? What is first name going to be? What is data type? First name is going to be virtual. It's going to be virtual, right? So let's say the maximum the maximum amount of alphabets that someone's name can contain. So I'm going to maximize it to 50. So I don't know how your name will be that long, but I'm going to maximize it to like 50. So which means if your name is longer than 50 alphabet, then you cannot put it there, right? That's your first name. Since we are taking first name, I think 20 should be enough, right? For first name. Then another one is the last name. Last name, using my backtick. So that is voucher. Voucher. So for the voucher, last name also 20, comma. Then let's do gender. Gender. Gender is going to be what? Enum, right? Enum, because we are expecting in a quote. Whenever you want to type a text, you now put it in a quote. Now, if you look at it, quote is different from what? The back tick. So in a quote, we are expecting male and female. Okay. So let's say we have another one called others, right? So others. So let's leave it like this. So that is 3. So you can only type in male, female, then others. Those are the 3 that you can actually type in there, right? Comma. Then after that, what else can we have in a school report? Let's say we want to have the grade, or we want to have the location of the student. Location is going to be virtual, right? Variable character of location, let's say 30, right? After that, we want to have all right. So let's say after location, we want to have age, or let's say date of death. So for me, I'm just going to write DOB because I don't want it to be too long. So I'll just write DOB. DOB will be date, right? So you can either choose date time or you choose date. So I'm going to go with date. What else can we have? Let's say last one, we will now have the age, right? Age is going to be what? Int, integer, and that is all. So with this now, we have our column listed out right here. All our column has been, let's say these are all the columns that we have. So now let's run this, Control Enter. All right. Oh, we've already created the table. We'll talk about, we can add country later. Don't worry, we'll add country. So you can now see here, right? You can see here, we've created our table. So now if I try to rerun this now, it's going to give me an error because the table has already been created. So if I'm to refresh this now, if you look at it, there's no table here, right? So if I'm to refresh this, now I can open this table and I have one table inside it, which is report, right? Which is report. That's the name of the table that I just created. All right. How can I see the information about my table? So let's say you're already working with an organization that have an existing table. So you just came in, you are not creating the table. So you want to like read the information about your table to see the data type of each column that is available in the table, right? So how can you see the information, let's say description of our table? So it's going to be previewing the previewing our table description. So now to do that, all I have to do is just say describe. I want to describe our table. What is our table name? Reports. So describe reports for me. What sort of information do I have in the? I'm not saying I want to see the content, the content of the table, right? That is the data set inside of the table. No, I want to see the description of the table. So what do you mean? The data types of the tables, right? So that's the function of describe the table for me. So if I'm to run this, all right, now you can see here in this information, you can see right here, you can see the description of this table. So the field, the data type, null, key, default, extra. We'll still talk about all these other ones. But if you look at it, let's focus more for now. Let's focus more on field and type. Field and type. So if you look at it, we have the field and we have the type. So the field that is available here, we have the serial number, right, which is integer. You have the first name, which is variable character. You have the last name, which is also variable character. We have the gender, which is enum, which contains male, female, and others, right? You have the location, which is variable character. You have date of birth, which is date. We have age, which is integer, right? Are we on the same page on this? Are we getting it? Are we getting it? All right. So that is how to see the description of your table. Now you see this null, key, default, extra. We will talk about it in our next class. They are called constraints. So we'll talk about constraints in our next class. But let's go ahead with this one now. All right. So after this one, what is the next thing? How can I now see the content? Now, they've been working, if you notice, we've not actually inserted any information inside this table, right? So, for instance, they've been working on that table and we want to now see the data set that we have inside of the table, right? So, we want to see the data set that's available inside of the table. So, for us to do that, we have select statements. So we have the select statement. So if I say, okay, I want to preview the contents of the table, right? So I want to preview the content, that is the data that I have inside of the table, right? I want to preview the content. So I want to see the data that I have inside of the table. So to do that, we use select what? Select all. So we use asterisk for all, right? Select all from where? Our table name, reports. Select all from reports. Remember, I said you should always close your code at the end of each line. Like at the end of each code, make sure that you always put this colon, or is it semicolon or colon, to close it. So now select all from reports. So just run. Now, if you notice, our data is empty, right? Is what? Empty. We actually don't have any information inside of our table, right? So it's just what? Empty. But you can see it now. It's now listed in a structured way. Now, are you now getting the importance of SQL now? Are you getting it? Now you can see the very first step is you create a database, which is sales, right? You select the database that you want to use, which is use sales. Now, inside of that sales now, if you don't run this use sales, that is, if you don't select it, if you don't select the database, SQL is going to throw an error because it will not know the database to use. Do you get? So the very first step is make sure you have a database. Once you have a database, select the database that you want to use. Now, every other information will be going inside that database. Now, if you look at here, I did not even specify that, okay, this table should go inside of sales. That's because I have selected it here. I told SQL, okay, use sales for me. Do you understand? Use sales for me, which is the database, right? So now, if you now create your table, right? So your table will be stored inside the sales. So you can now describe the table to see the content, the description of the table, right? To see the description of the table. Then after that, you can now select all from that table so that you see the data type, the data that is available in the table. Are we together? Are we together? All right. So the next thing is, someone said we should add extra column, right? So someone said we should add extra column, which is country. So how do we add extra column? Sorry, please, I need to turn off the generator. I think there is light, please. Just give me a minute. Oh, okay, so I'm back here. Someone said you talked about sales. I do not understand. I did not talk about sales. Sales is a database, right? And I told you that inside of your database, you need to actually specify where your information is going to be stored, right? So what I did right here, what I did right here is to select the database that I want to use. That's when I ran this code, use sales. All right. So let's move forward to the next thing. SQL will run into, oh, thank you, Nana, for answering that question for me. I really appreciate you. All right. So now let's move forward. We are done with this slide 8. We've created a table. How do we delete a table? All right. How do we delete a table? Right? But before we actually delete the table, let's talk about how to add an extra column to an existing table. We've already created the table. The table is already there. So now, our organization that we are working with, they already have a table. So now they want to add extra column, right? So they want to add another column called country. Can you help me? We have country. How many columns do you think we should add? We have country. Okay. Give me. Other ones, just give me like 2 more. Country. I'm waiting now. Who else? Country. Department. Thank you. Region. City. Okay. All right, let's add those 3. Email. All right, that's good. So country, department, and email. Country, department, and email. So now to add phone number. Okay, that's okay. All right. To add an extra column to an existing table, we use something called alter. So I'm going to add it one by one, but you can actually add everything at once. Do you get? But because you are just getting started, I'm going to be adding it one by one, but you can add everything at once. So adding an extra column to an existing table. All right. So let's add that. So we'll do something like alter table. right? The table that I want to alter is what? Reports. Reports. So you can actually write it on a straight line, but I don't like writing my SQL code on a straight line. I prefer to break it down. So add column. Add column. The column name is what? We want to start with, let's say, phone number. So phone number, right? The data type of phone number is int, right? Data type of phone number is int. So I'm going to add this one as an individual, but every other one, I'm going to add it together. Do you get? So I'm going to add this one as an individual so that you know that it works if you're adding just one column. But every other one, I will add it together. All right, so if I'm to run this, all right, you can actually see there is no error here. So let's go back up here and run our select statement again. So I'm going to run select. Here now we have phone number, right? So that is adding one. In a situation whereby we want to add 5 more, we can't be adding one, run it, add it again, run it, right? We can actually add multiple at once. So let's do that. So adding an extra column. So here now we want to add multiple column. Adding multiple columns at once. Okay, so alter our table. The table name is reports. Okay, add column. Then I want to add departments. Let's put it in first letter. Departments. Department. And the data type of department is virtual. Virtual, let's say 10. Okay, I want to add more. Add column. So you can continue just adding it like that. Add column. I want to add email. Email is what? Virtual. Virtual of email can be like 40. Comma again. Add column. I want to add, let's add country now. Country is virtual of, let's say, 450, right? Simple as this. Are you lost? Are you lost? So if you notice, I'm putting comma, 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 right? Someone is raising hand. Please unmute.
Please, sir. Good evening, class. Good
Yeah.
evening, sir.
Good
Please,
evening.
I'm not getting. I'm very lost because I have issue of network. So since you are saying adding this, adding that, I'm not seeing your screen writing something. It's now I'm seeing everything who is in front of me. I don't know where you start to put the table or it is appear. You say you add a column. I'm not seeing
Ah,
where you are touching to the thing to help thing to appear. I'm just
oh,
listening your voice, but I'm not.
that means you have we've done a lot of things. So that means you have to watch the replay. Huh? Or just wait till at the end of the class, I'm going to answer your question. I can't start afresh again. We've done a lot. All right. So don't worry, you will understand it if you watch the replay. It's very, very simple. It's not hard. So let's move forward. Don't worry, you will get it. It's not hard. Do you understand? It's not hard at all. All right. Now, if you notice, I said alter. So let me just do a quick summary. So we use this to create our table, right? We describe the table so that we see the description of the table, right? Then after that, we select all so that we'll see the content, that is the item that we have inside of the table, right? Now we use alter to add an extra column to the table. Do you understand? Just one column now. But here now, we're adding multiple column. So alter table, add column. The column name is department, and the data type is virtual. That is one column. Then we put comma again, add column again, email, virtual of 40, add column again, country, virtual of 50. All right. So please unmute.
Hello, please. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, please. My question is that when you look at the first alter that you just made, alter
Yes.
table, add column, phone number, you put the quotation marks on it,
It's
but the
not,
other one,
it's not quotation. This is backtick. And I
back to, okay,
explained it
okay, okay.
while I was creating the table that
Yeah,
if
I've
you
gotten
want
it.
to use
Sorry.
space, if you want to use space in your column name, you use backtick. But
Okay, I've
if
gotten. I
the
didn't see
column
it
name
well.
does not have space, you don't need to use backtick. Here,
Sorry, I didn't see it. I thought it was the this. Sorry, I didn't see it.
no
Sorry about that.
problem.
And also, my next question is that when we are creating the table initially, we just insert table, then we add columns. I'm asking that the adding columns, why are we repeating it? Can't we just add the names so that it just pick it up? But we are calling the function add table, not this one, the add column rather.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Now, we are the one creating the table, right? So
Okay.
what about if you got a job and they already have an existing table, they ask you to add extra columns. How do you do it? Are you going to delete the column, the tables that they have earlier so that you'll be able to create your own?
No, what I'm trying to say is that when you call the function add column, I was
Yes.
expecting that maybe add column department voucher, then comma, then email voucher. I shouldn't be repeating add column. I don't know whether there's a
That
procedure you
that's
got.
how that's how we do it.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's how we
Noted.
do it.
Noted. Well done.
All right. So, all right. You can't just say add column, department, voucher, then you don't put another one, email. No, that's going to give you an error. Do you get it now? So you have to add column, email, voucher, add column, country, the data type. Do we understand? So let's run this. Let's run this, and all right, if you look, we did not actually have any error here in our prompt. We did not have any error. So now let's select all and see. Here you can see all the column has been added, right? All the column has been added. Do we understand this? How can you use the backtick? I've already explained it. I said the backtick is under your escape key. Do we understand? So that's how to add column. So the next thing, let me see. The next thing is, I think, drop table. No, we are not dropping table. We'll drop table later. The next thing is, we are not talking about inserting. The next thing is, let me see, dropping a column. Okay, dropping a column in SQL. So how do we delete a column? Or before we delete, let's talk about how to rename a column. So how to rename a column, how to rename a column in SQL. So, oh, sorry, renaming a column. So we want to rename a column now. Renaming a column. Renaming a column in SQL. All right, so I want to rename a column. So the next one, that is going to be So let's say I want to which column can I rename? Who can help me here? What can I rename? What can I rename? So let's say this location, I want to change it to city, right? So location, I want to change it to city. Then phone number to what? Telephone, right? So I want to rename location to city. I want to also rename phone number to telephone. All right. So let's do that. So we'll do alter. So I'm going to do these two together, still the same process. Alter table, right? The table name is reports. Rename column. Rename column. The old name is location to new name city, right? So rename column location to what? City, right? Okay, comma. Then rename column again. Rename column backtick because the phone number contains space. Phone number to what? So rename phone number to contacts. Is that all you want us to do? Do you want us to rename another thing? You can see, is SQL not simple? Is this not simple? Say the truth though. Is this not simple? It's just like English language, right? It's not. It's too simple, Joe. Very simple, right? So we are renaming the phone number to contacts. All right, is that how you want me to do? But you can rename as many at once. If you like, if it is only ones that you want to rename, you stop here. If it is multiple, you can just keep using rename, 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 right? So that is this. Very complicated. How? It's not at all. We will get there. We will get there. How do we change data type? We will get there, right? So rename column location to city, then rename the column phone number to contact. All right. So let's run, Control Enter. All right, no error. Now let's go back up to run this our select statement again to see the column names, right? So this select all from reports, right? I told you don't use all, we use asterisk. So let's run it. Now you can see here we have city and instead of location, and here we have phone number instead of, we have contact instead of phone number. Any question here? So permit me to add one more column. Let's say what else can I, let's change the data type now. So if you run the describe report here, if you run the describe, if you notice this country is virtual, right? Country is virtual. So let's say I want to change it to text instead of virtual, right? I want to change it to text instead of virtual. So in that case, that means I want to change the data type, right? So changing the data type in SQL. So we want to change data type. Now we use what we call modify, right? So alter table reports, right? So modify column. The column name is country. Then what data type do we want to use now is text. That's all. So, before it was in where? It was in virtual. It was in virtual. Now, we are changing it from virtual to text. So let's run. All right, no error at all. So which means we've changed the data type of country from virtual to what? Text. Now, let's show that. Let's describe it again. Run. Let's see it. Now, look at country. Is now what? Text. Are you lost? Hope I'm not going too far. That is how to modify. Very fast. Okay, let me take it again. Let's do one more modification. Let's do one more modification. Now, let's say this email, if you look at it, the data type is varchar of 40. But on a more serious note, we actually don't know the length of email. We don't know, some will be longer, some will be shorter, right? So now let's convert it from varchar to text. Same thing that we did, right? But actually, let's do it. It's not bad, right? So let's change the data type now from virtual back to text, right? The same way you can change. So later we'll come. Let's say I want to change the serial number from int to decimal, right? Then the email from virtual to text. All right. So changing the data type of multiple column, changing the data type of multiple columns, at once. Okay, that's what I want to do now. Alter. Okay. Alter table. The table name is reports, right? Alter table report. Modify the column. Modify column, right? I want to change serial number from int to decimal. So S_n to what? Decimal. That's one. Then the second one, modify column back. Sorry for that. Okay. So modify column, right? Can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen, please? Yes. All right. So modify column. I want to change what again? Email to what? Text. That is all. It's black in your side. It's your network. Now, another thing that you can see is if you don't see this, sometimes some people don't use decimal. They use double. They use double. Double is still another data type of decimal. So if you go to Google now and you say double in SQL, double data type in SQL. So it's still the same thing as what? As decimal, right? So double, that is a floating point. So whenever you see something like floating, it means decimal. Do you understand? So it means decimal. So it's still the same thing as decimal. Do you understand? So you can either use double or use decimal. But in this case, let's say I'm using decimal, or let's use decimal. Now, decimal always have some things like this. In a bracket, it can come in bracket. You can say 3, 2, like this, right? So what does this mean? If you have 3, 2, right? So which means the highest number of the whole number will has to be 3. So, and the remainder, that is the number after the dots, has to be 2. So what does that mean? Let me say, so in this case, where I have 3, 2, which means I can have something like 456.98. Do you get it? But you can have any of these digits that is above 3. So you can have 4566.98, and you can have .9982. Do you understand? Do you understand? If you don't understand, let me retake this again. So here in the decimal, you see I put something like 3, 2, right? So which means I can have something like 123.78, something like this, right? Now the whole number before the decimal must be 3 digits. No, it's not a must. The highest that I can take is 3 digits, and after the decimal, the highest digits it can take must be, it must not go above 2 digits. So most of the time, because you don't know the number of decimal, the number of digits that will be inside of a decimal, right? We always leave it. Sometimes for me, I always leave it blank like this, right? So SQL will be the one to decide it. All right. So close, run, no error at all. So let's come back up here and describe. Okay, if you look here now, you can see the maximum you can take is 10. Then it puts 0 there, which means it's after the decimal, you can take as many as possible. It has no issue with that. But let's look here. Our email is now in text. That is modify. That is true for modification. All right. We still have a lot to do tonight, though. Hope you are not having headache now. Hope you are not lost. Are you still with me? We still have a lot of things to cover. Oh. Are you still with me? Yes or no? Yes or no? All right. Nice one. So let's move forward. Now, to delete a column, how do we delete a column? Gold. Please unmute. Gold.
Okay, good evening.
Good
Good
evening,
evening,
ma'am.
sir. Good evening, everyone. A very quick one, please. After you run, I think
I
you
did
went
not
for the
run. I ran the code.
no,
I did not run. I'm seated here.
no, I did not see you. You know what I mean. After you do that, you run the code.
Mm-hmm.
The table doesn't display immediately. I think there's a place you went and displays the table. Please let me see that because I'm following the code, so I'm not seeing that.
I don't understand. What do you say? You muted. Please unmute. I don't understand your question. After I run, I didn't see where you click to display the table. I said you can come back to describe to see the description of the table, right? If you want to see the content, then you run the select. Do you get it now? So if I just run this rename, it's just going to show me down here that, okay, oh, code is successfully, has run successfully, right? But if I want to see the changes, so you can, because I've written it here, that's why I'll just come up to run it again. So instead of me replicating that code, rewriting it every single time, so you can actually rewrite it if you want, but instead of me doing that, I'll rather come, since it's not that far, right? I'd rather come up here to run it. Oh, wow, we've written 65 lines of code. So let's move forward. So to delete a column in a table. So how do we delete a column in a table? So deleting a column in a table. So we want to delete a column in a table, right? That's what we want to do. We want to delete a column that we have in a table, right? So how do we do that? To delete a column in a table, we'll do alter. So which column do you think we should delete? Give me an hint. Which column do you think we should delete? Give me an hint. Which column do you think we should delete? Which column do you think we should delete? Email. All right. Let's do one. I don't want to delete. Okay. I'm going to delete. Okay. So let's delete as many as possible. Right? I'm not deleting the whole table. I just want to delete a column in a table. So alter table. Our table name is what? Reports. Reports. I just love writing. I love teaching SQL, but I don't really say cheat. Because SQL is too simple for me. It's not as complex as which programming language is complex for me? Python is not complex. I thought I've been teaching Python. Which one is complex? Java. I don't like Java. But don't worry, I want to take on something that is very, very challenging this year, before this year ends. So I'm coming to Java, then C++, C Sharp, I'm coming there before this year ends. Don't worry, you say it's complex, right? Machine learning, I train machine learning now. So machine learning is not complex. So then after that, I'll tell you if it's complex or not. There's nothing complex there. Just know it, right? Okay, let's go back to class. Don't let us play. All right, alter table report. What I want to do, drop. I want to drop column. The column that I want to drop is, I want to drop contacts. I don't have the time to be putting that. Contacts, comma, drop again, column. Which column again? I want to drop departments, comma, drop column again. Which column? Email, comma, drop column again. Which column? Okay, let me leave country. Let's leave country. I'll finish the table. I'm done. I'm done. It's okay. Right? So okay. That's all. So let's leave that. Right. So contacts, department, and email. Those are the three things that I want to drop. All right, so let's run. Okay, no error. Actually, I'm on fire this night. Oh, I've not run any error at all. I've not run any error this night. Favor, you have a question. Please unmute.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Yeah, good
everybody.
evening, ma.
Sir, okay, for when we're doing the other one, we wanted to like alter some things. You had to put that asterisk, the star that's there, so that it can run all. And this one now we're deleting something. We do not put any star to run all these things we're deleting
No,
because
no,
it's
no,
more
no.
than
It's
one.
not. It's not alter style. It's not alter. It's select. We are selecting information, right? So on this other one now, we are changing something. It's different from selecting. Do you understand?
Okay,
So it's different from selecting. So if you are using select now, it's to see the item that you have in your table, right? But if you describe, to see the description of the table. Do you understand?
kind of.
Kind of. Okay. The moment we insert information into the table now, you use select to preview all the data sets that you have in the table, right? You use select
Yeah.
statements.
Yes.
Do you understand? So you want to know the
Mm.
data type of the table, the stuff of the table. right? The description, what they did that forms that table, right? Then you use describe. Do you understand?
Okay.
Now,
Yes.
alter is used for you to make changes to the table, to the column in a table. So whenever you want to make changes to the column, maybe you want to change a column name, you want to add extra column, you want to remove column, right? You want to change the data type of a column. Do you get? So that is when you
Yeah.
need alter. Do you get?
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
So alter is not previewing. You're not previewing the information, right? What you are doing is you are making changes to the available columns. Do you get? Yes.
Yes, sir.
King blah. Which kind of name is this? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Favor, do you have any other question?
No, sir. No, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for that. Um ah, select is like retrieving all the available information in the data. All right. So that is that for now. We've deleted, we've modified, we've renamed, we've changed the data type, right? So that is altering a table, right? Now the next thing is the last one that we're going to do is, before we call it a day, is how to insert data into the table. How do we now insert data into the table? So that's the last thing. No, that's not the last thing. No. That's not the last thing. No. But that's it. We are going to do it, yeah. So how to insert information into the table. All right. So let's describe our table and see all the available columns. So we've dragged some columns, and here you can see the ones that we have. We have serial number, we have first name, we have last name, we have gender, city, date of birth, age, and country. Those are what we do have now, right? Yes, and deleting the entire table. Yes. So those are what we have. So now, how do we now insert? So because if you run this our select statement, you will notice our table is empty. There's no information inside the table. So how do we now add information to the table, right? So let's add information to our table, right? So adding information to our table. All right, sorry for that. So how to add information into our table, right? It's supposed to be into our table. So now to do that, so we will use insert into our table name, report. What do we want to insert? Values. Insert into report values. So in brackets, you can now start passing the information. So the serial number, number one. For number one, because it's integer, I'm not going to put this in a quote, right? So what is the first name of number one? Let's say Mr. Mark, right? If you notice, first name is a virtual, right? So I have to put it in a quote. So whenever you are writing a string, which is a text, you have to put it in a quote. So we have Mark, His surname is Samuel. Mark Samuel. All right. Gender. If you remember, our gender is blob. So if I should put something else there, right, it's going to give me an error. So I'm going to pass in male in a quote, right? The city is also a text. So I'll put it in a quote, Lagos. Date of birth. Now, this date of birth, because it's actually a date, you will put it in a quote also, right? So I don't want it to be too long. That's why I'm breaking. Okay, well, I can actually continue here. So, but let's go ahead. So now, date of birth, because it's a date, you have to put it in a quote. So here now, we have the year. So let's say they gave birth to Mark Samuel in 1923, hyphen, right? The month is, let's say, 06, and the year is, the day is on the 17th of June 1923. All right, the age. I don't go beyond my boundary. So let me use 2000. But you get the drill. You can use age. Someone that they gave birth to on this date is how old? We can do the calculation later, but I'm just going to say, okay, 26, right? Because it's an integer. Then the country, the person is from Nigeria. All right, let's run this and see. So let's run, Control Enter. All right, no error, right? So let's run our select statement again and see the result. Boom. You can see one Mark Samuel, male, Lagos. Do we understand this? Now we have the first person. Let's add one more person. But you can actually change this. You don't have to retype it again. Right? You can change it. Okay. Number 2. Number 2 is how to get the age from date of birth. We are not there yet. Don't rush. We are not there yet. Don't rush. Do you want me to do it? We are going to use timestamp diff. That's what we are going to actually. That's what we are going to use, Mr. Steven. For us to do that, it's going to be, we are going to use timestamp diff. That's the function we are going to use. Should I go ahead? Talk now. I should go ahead. Not be me, you go back. They're just getting started. You said I should go and start talking about timestamp diff. At least take it easy. You've not even started doing other things. He said that's the last, like towards the end of the class. That's when we're gonna do it. All right. So, Mark, let's say we want to change number 2. Let's use female, right? Let's do favor. Let's say your last name today is Matthew. You are a female and you are in Calabar. Your date of birth is 1972 003. Let's do 08. Your age is let's just say 67 or something. Your location, you are in Ghana. All right. So if I'm to run this, no error, right? So let's select. All right, now you can see here we have number 2. So that is how you insert information. Now you can actually insert 2 information at once, right? You can insert 2 information at once. More than at least. So let's do 3 and 4. Okay. So I'm going to actually come here. So give me names now. Number 3, John, Festus is a male, right? Is from Ibadan. Just going to change 43, the same month, but different day. Age is 69. Location is Cameroon. All right, so I want to come out here. Let me press enter. The next one, so let's put it right here. So you can say I just put comma. Number 4 now is going to be Amani. Is that the name? Amani Emmanuel. That's a female, if I'm correct. Oh, well, I've written it though. The location is Tamale or something. Is it Tamal? All right, 1925 0 9. Let's do 18. You said your age is 81 and you are in, let's say you are in Canada. All right, let's add one more, comma. Let's add one more, which is number 5. Put it right here. Number 5. Let's do David Johnson. Male. Location is Kurudu. Let's say this is in let's say 1897. Oh, 10. Let's say 24. Age is 107. Location is Zambia. All right. That's good. So we've added 5. That's 3, 4, and 5. Let's run. At once. Ready, go. No error. All right. Let's see the stuff. Run, and here we have 1 to 5. Do we understand? Do we understand this? Yes or no? Now, today, we were able to create table, modify the table, rename columns rather, modify column, rename column, drop column, right? Now, how do we now drop table? That's the last thing we want to do. How do we now drop a table entirely? But I'm not going to run it because I don't want to drop this table. So to drop table is simple. The same way you drop a database. Drop, but instead of database, what you're going to use now is table. Then your table name is report. That's all. So drop table, then your table name is, you pass it there, you run. But for me, I'm not running this. This is dropping a table. For me, I'm not running it. All right. So for now, I'm just going to leave it. Now your assignment, before I start taking question. Assignment. So you are going to create the same report with insert 20 names, 20 informations into the report table. Now, an export. So you are going to export it out. So how do we export? After you run select and it shows like this, you see export right here. You see the export option? Just click on it. And I'm telling you, saying August sales, I did not actually send you. I can just say reports. Let's just call it SQL reports. Right? Let me take it again. So the moment you run your select statement and it displays this information here, there's export information, export button here. Just click on it and give it any name. So let's call it SQL reports, then save. So that should be saved on my desktop as CSV file. And in Excel, we should have this. We should have this. Why does it not convert this? Oh, the date does not actually get to 1897. That's Excel does not get to 1897. That's why it does not know which date it belongs to. No problem. So that is that about that. That's your assignment. You have to insert 20 names into the report table and export it out. All right, let me take question. We have Pampe raising and unmute. Pampe.
So, sir, so far so good. I've been following you with the way you are doing it, but my schema is showing not connected. The way yours are showing data, mine is showing not connected. I was
Close
able
it
to,
and open it again.
I was unable to run.
Yeah, it's not going to run. Close it and open it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember to save your script though. So go to
I
file,
saved it. I saved it
go to
yesterday.
file, then save script.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Joy, please unmute. Joy, Joy, Joy. How are you
Good
doing
evening.
today?
I'm fine. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma.
Sir, please, actually, I'm following you with my system, but where we started from creating the table, so I'm following the steps that you are given. I wrote the S underscore N int and comma, but it's showing it's telling me that is not correct, that is expecting an identifier. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Are you sure you did the
Is
same
it-
thing I did?
Yes.
You did not. Check it. Check what you did. Watch the replay. Take it again. Or send me the screenshot of what you did. Let me see. I'm going to tell you the error.
All right, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Favor, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you. For the assignments,
Yeah.
you said that we should add 5 more names. I
I did
wanted
not
to
say
ask whether we,
5, but I said 20. Look at it though.
sorry, 20 more names, sorry.
Uh-huh.
I, I wanted to ask whether we should add other like other columns to the maybe country, maybe we can re-add all those email address and other things that we deleted again.
It's your choice. You can play around with it.
Okay. And secondly, I didn't get how you transferred the files to Excel.
So once you run your select statement and it displays the information here, you see export here. Can you see it? Let me annotate it for you. Here. Do you see it? There is export there. So click on it. This small calendar here. This ribbon here. So click on it, then so then it's going to do that. All right. Let me take thank you, Favor. Pawin, please unmute. Sachi Pawin Joseph. Am I correct? Hello? Hello. Good
Hey, can you
evening.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the awesome work.
You're welcome.
Um, what I want, what I want to find out is our database. So it's kind of warehouse that stores data of
I can't hear
organization.
you. You said
So
what?
this is database we're creating. For
Yeah.
example, for an organization or whatsoever firm. Now, I was wondering whether once it's kind of restore information. And I want to collect data in respect of this attribute. And I design a form that I already collected the data. Is there a way to be able to import that data into the database to be stored for whatever use? And at any point in time I need that data, I can get it from that source.
Yes, we'll talk about importation next week.
Oh, okay. So that I don't necessarily kind of be filling the data in the database, but I just create a table necessary for the attribute of the data and I get the
It's not
data
even a
from the
must.
source.
It's not even a must for you to create the table. We'll talk about importing next week.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome. Odmayo 004. Watch yesterday. Watch last week replay. Yes, last week replay. You'll see there how to download and install SQL. Watch the video. You're gonna see there. Gold again. Welcome.
Okay, good evening.
Welcome once again.
Um, please, these headings where we have import SQL file 3, data 2, SQL file 3, and all that. That
Mm-hmm.
row.
Mm.
Well, what does that imply? Is it like where we have
These,
sheet 1, sheet
these are
2,
these are these
data?
are the scripts that I've worked on. It's just like sheet one, sheet two, but this is your own script. This is the one that I'm working on for you. But these are some of the things
Which
that
one?
I have worked on. So you have
Okay.
nothing to do with that.
Okay, just like we have sheet 1 and pages in
Yes,
Power BI.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Mr. Atim,
yes.
hope, what are you trying to practice, and we maybe put a call across or ask you, you also be there to give clarity.
Call
Because I
me.
really,
Calling is better than sending a message.
you mean WhatsApp call, normal call?
Any of the two.
Hmm?
Any of the two is fine.
Any of
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm yet to also
You can
grab
drop
so
a
more
message.
things.
You can drop a message and just call me that, okay, Mr. Akim, please, I drop a message for you. Please respond and stuff. But if you drop it, I might be in class and I won't be able to attend to it immediately. But if you call my attention to it, that, okay, please, it's very urgent, attend to this question, then I'll just respond to you immediately.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Why do I put date of birth in a quote? Because it's a date. So whenever you are typing a date, it has to be in a quote. Do you understand? Whenever you are typing a date, you have to always put it in a quote. One for Obianuju, please unmute. Obianuju, I've heard that name before somewhere. Obi, please unmute. Let's be fast. Oh, You need internet when running installation.
Good
Yeah.
evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, please. I just have a little question. When we have those, when you are inserting the data, when you are imputing,
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing there because I swapped from laptop. I don't know. Is it an inverted comma? Is it the apostrophe of or the back?
Is
The
is a
back.
quote. Is a quote, not a back tick.
Okay, not the back tip.
Yes. Look at the
Okay.
back tick here.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you understand?
Okay.
But this
Yes.
one, because you are passing in a string, So whenever you are passing a test inside of the
Okay.
column, that's where you will use quote.
Okay. So okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, I think that is favor. Favor.
Sorry, sir.
Favor. You know I'm
Sorry,
going to
sir.
go home today.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
First of all, my own did
Okay.
not open in Excel. And secondly,
Uh-huh.
while I was inserting what the names, the another column, I
Yeah.
forgot to change the number, the serial number to number 4. So it is now showing me double 3.
Yeah.
So now am I to
I know some people will make that mistake. And because I want you to make that mistake, that's why I asked you to do the inserting. So that's where constraints come in. So let's resume. Let's talk about constraints now.
okay?
He said, okay, not this night, it's next week. I'm just kidding.
If I go to do the assignment,
Yeah, enter it like that now.
oh my god. Okay.
So if you make the mistake, okay, let me give you one more tip. So if you make the mistake and you want to delete all the information you have in your table, just do something like delete from your table name reports. This will wipe out all the information you have in your table. So you can start
So that
from
means I'll
number
start
one again.
again.
Eh?
I will not start typing again all of them. I cannot
Yes.
just delete one.
Because I don't want to give you that now.
That's not
We,
fair.
we have the where clause that we can use. But for now, it's either you do it like this or you just continue.
I'll rather continue. I'll like start typing all this thing again.
Don't worry, it's fine. We are going to talk about it next week because I want you people to make that mistake so that so that you know the importance of the next class.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the export sent for to Excel, I'm not getting it though. It's
It
not
does not
working.
open. Does it save as CSV?
Yes, to save as CSV. And now when it saved to my what do you call it, home and what do you call it?
Your desktop.
The screensaver file, yeah, the desktop. It saved there. I opened it, it's showing me error something. Then when I tried saving it as Excel file, it opened and showed me
It showed you what?
it did not open in Excel app.
Oh, that's your system. That should be your system. That's nothing to do with the SQL save. In as much as it has
So how am
saved
I
as
doing it
SQL,
now?
as CSV, and you are sure. So that's your Excel.
Oh.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Favor, go and sleep. I don't want to see your hand up again. Oh. Go and sleep. It's late already. It's not okay for a female to be awake by this time. Go and sleep. Don't raise your hand again. Daddy, sell something. Good evening. Oh.
Yeah, good evening, Daddy Selby.
Okay.
Yeah, please, I want to find out that the assignment that you just gave, are we going to submit it or we are just keep it?
You are submitting it. You are not skipping it, though. You are submitting it. You are submitting the script.
True where?
I will drop the
What's
link
the
to submit
channel?
the assignment.
Okay, I'm done. That's the reason I'm asking.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Who says so? I said that. Favor. Oh, yeah, talk.
Sorry, my one has worked now. I put it in CSV something, not
Okay.
just CSV. It's
Okay.
showing me two CSV there, so that's what I use in case someone else is having the issue.
Okay,
That's
you
why I have to
change it
raise my
from
hand.
CSV to CSV separated. This one.
Separated, yes.
It's fine. That's why I said
All right, thanks.
this CSV is the general one that's supposed to open it.
Okay.
All right. Talking out of experience, which experience? I don't get any experience. Mute back. Bye-bye. I don't get any experience. I'm just kidding. So I'm not talking out of experience. All right, guys. I have one more class to go.